Hello. Hello.
Well,
Hi, I'm Marie, and I hope you have your puppets handy because it's time to put together our puppet show. But what would a puppet show be without a theater to perform in? Punch and Judy is the oldest puppet show style in England that is still performed today. It's over 500 years old. The puppeteer is usually called the professor, and their theaters are large boxes with a window cut out to show the puppets. They often are very decorated on the outside with curtains and fancy things around the edges. And then they have backdrops on the inside to show the different scenes of what's happening in the story. What would you like your puppet theater to look like? What would it need? How can you set the stage? I think I'd like to have some curtains and a window cut out of a piece of paper to frame the puppet show. On a fresh piece of paper, you need to make your stage, the window that the performance is going to happen in. You can sketch it out with a pencil or with a marker. You can work on plain paper or colored paper. I'm going to sketch out like a curtain. A little window. This area is going to get cut out. And now I want to decorate the edges. When I think about a theater, I usually think about a red curtain. So you can use crayons or colored pencils and color in your curtain or the outside of your stage. Well, that looks like a curtain, but it's not very fancy. This paper I'm using is also a little bit flimsy, and this will make a better puppet theater if it's a little bit sturdier. So I think I'm going to look for some details that I can add to my curtain or my stage and do some magazine collage on top. I like these stripes, and they look like fabric. Once you found some magazine imagery that might help decorate your theater, glue it all down, either with a glue stick or a glue bottle. Maybe you'd like to give your theater a name. Mine's going to be the Look Theater. Make sure you run glue all around the edge of your shape so all of it sticks, and a little in the middle. And if that's not fancy enough, you can also draw some more details. Adding patterns and designs to things always makes them look fancier. How does your theater look now? I need to cut this part out so that you can see the stage or backdrop behind it. Save this scrap, you're going to need it later. Well, it now looks like I have a theater, and I can play with my puppet in this space, but you can still see me. You can't see where the story is taking place. Now we need the background setting. Brainstorm a little bit, or look back at your storyboard. Where does your story take place? Is it inside? Outside? What details do you need to show in the background to help tell your story? Another way to think about this is, how would you like to decorate the back of your theater so that you can use it for lots of different stories? In my storyboard, I had planned to tell a story about something that was happening at my house, and I had a kitchen and a chair in the living room. So I think I want to try to create a scene that's like that on the background paper that I have. The theater curtains are going to go in front of the backdrop. So think about how some of that space isn't really going to get seen, but I still want to try to create a complete picture. I could draw a scene. If my scene is happening outside, I might want to have a horizon line to separate the sky and the ground. If you are doing an indoor scene, you would want a floor line. Now this looks like a wall and the floor. You could draw out your scene, or you could use collage materials. In the magazine I was looking at earlier, I saw lots of images that I thought I might be able to use to build my scene. These were all images I found that looked like insides of houses. Since I want to do a house scene, I think I'll use these. So I've gathered them out, just pulled them out, and now I'm going to arrange and glue down. You could do the same thing, or you could draw your scene. When you have arranged all of your pieces, glue them down. Going to be the doorway, will be the window, If you're collaging and you still have white paper left over, you could draw on some details. Like I think I'll make the door frame. Maybe outline the windows. continue this floor. Maybe I'll color it to make it match a little more. So now this looks like the kitchen and living room scene where my story will take place. And my theater will go on top. I'd like to give this a little bit of space and make it hover above the picture a little bit. So remember I said to save that middle cutout? We're going to turn this paper into some springs to help pop up the edges. To make springs, you need to cut some strips. There's actually two ways to do this. I could make stilts that are just spirals of curled up paper, and that'll be pretty strong. And I can glue one part underneath and then the other part to my background, and then it'll stand up. But the edge of the paper on this curled up stilt isn't a lot to glue to, so I think I'd rather make springs. To make a spring, you're going to take a long strip and fold it until it looks like an L at about the halfway point. So you should end up with this sort of triangle shape. So this went over, and then whatever's coming out under, you flip over. So I'm going to flip that one over. Now this is under, I'm going to flip over. And you keep going back and forth. One piece goes up and down, the other piece goes left and right. Now I have a little spring that I can glue, and it'll pop it up just a little bit. All my strips are about the same size, which means my springs should turn out all about the same size too. So I'll show you again. I'm going to fold this to make an L. I see this angle. And then I have an up-down piece and a side-to-side piece. Down, this one goes left. This one goes up, this one goes right. This goes down, this goes left. Just keep doing that until you run out of paper. I'm going to do that to all of my strips. I'm going to flip over my stage curtain, and I'm going to glue my spring so that I have one at each corner, and then hopefully I have enough to do ones at the centers too. The more springs you have, the sturdier this will be. So now I just have to glue one side down. I also want to glue one of these flaps down. My springs don't unravel. And now I'm ready to put it all together. So I'm just going to put a little dot of glue on the bottom of each of my springs. Then I'm ready to flip this over. Carefully line it up to the edges of the background and to stick. There is my puppet theater, ready for a puppet show. One way to perform the puppet show would be to hold this up and then perform in front of it. That's how I would do it if I were going to show my puppet show to someone in person. You might be able to make this stand up on a table and then perform in front of it. Since I have a video camera above my table, I'm going to put my backdrop down and then just perform on top of my backdrop. Think about how you would like to share your puppet show with other people. Do you want to perform it live or do you want to record it? Are you ready for my puppet show? Once upon a time, there was a sad stray cat. He would always meow at the back door. Meow, meow, please feed me. Baba heard him and thought, well, maybe I can feed this cat. And he would feed them. Oh. The cat would try to come in and sit on the furniture, but Baba was not happy about that. No, you have to go outside. Out you go. Baba wasn't really a cat person. But then he started to think about the poor, poor cat outside, in the cold, in the hot, always hungry and lonely. Meow, meow, meow. What am I gonna do about that cat? Maybe I should take care of that cat. Come on inside. Meow? Okay. Meow. What should I name you? Sia, since you're a black cat. Grrr, grrr. And Sia and Baba lived happily ever after. The end. Yay! How did your puppet show turn out? Who will you perform your puppet show for? What other stories could you tell with your puppets? Could you record your puppet show? I hope you had fun making your storyboard and your puppets and your puppet theater, and I hope you'll go perform your puppet show for somebody else. Have fun playing. Bye.